Hello, my name is Kefka14, and this is going to be an any percent tutorial for Doraemon 3 Nobita's Town SOS on Nintendo 64. It's a Japanese exclusive game. That being said, there's not a whole lot of English resources for the game at all, so best I can tell, this will be the first walkthrough of the quickest way to beat the game, more or less. It should help a lot of people get into speedrunning the game. At least that's the intention. So we're gonna do this part by part and level by level. So here we go. We'll get basically, when you go to start a new game, it doesn't really matter what file you choose. We're not gonna be turning off the console at any particular point, but press A. It asks what difficulty you want to set it to. We're gonna go to easy. It's worth noting that there is some merits to running on hard mode. There are more enemies, so you can get more drops of a particular item that we need to farm. However, the easy route is currently still the fastest. That doesn't mean eventually that hard might surpass that, but for now, easy is the way to go, as the bosses are just much faster. Anyway, timing begins after you press A to start the file, after selecting difficulty. So you press A here to select easy, and then we press A to start the game. And this is where timing begins in 3, 2, 1. So one thing worth noting is with the cutscenes, there's a strange thing that can happen in this game, where if you press the start button too soon, the game will lock itself in place and you won't be able to skip the cutscene. Normally, all the cutscenes in the game are skippable. So it's going to be very useful to be able to skip those cutscenes without getting soft locked. The way about that I like to do is to just listen for some of the first audio in the cutscene. Anyway, when the game starts off, you get a couple of text boxes, which we'll talk about a bit more later. And then here you are standing right here in front of Nobi's house. The first place we're going to go is to the right. And we're going to immediately cut down this alley and take a slight right here. And then we're going to take another right here into this alley and press B to talk to Sue. Again, wait till you hear the first audio of that cutscene before pressing start to skip it. Otherwise, you could get locked into having to watch the cutscene. So, with text boxes, there's a few ways to dismiss them. We'll talk about them more in a moment. But if you press A, they're generally dismissed. There is a way to make all of the text appear at once, but it's kind of oddly specific. Again, we'll get to that in a moment. But from this point in the run, press A to get rid of the text box, and you're going to come to the right. Then you're going to come up here, and to the right. You're going to go past this alley, and you're going to take a left here at this wooden fence. And you're going to come right, and into this house. Afterwards, up here to these stairs. Skip this cutscene. And now we have Doraemon in our party. So Doraemon's movement is much slower than Nobi's. As such, we're going to be switching back to Nobi. But we have some text boxes coming up, so we can talk about text boxes in this game. The first thing to do, though, is to switch back to Nobi. Oops. That was my mistake. You want to go to the third menu in the pause menu and press left. You can buffer this input as well to save some time. And what I mean by that is after you press A here, you just hold left and mash A, and you'll automatically switch to Nobi. Now, I personally like to go ahead and equip my weapon here because we need to use it in the next level. But you can wait until you enter the next level as well, or a different time to do this. I find it just easy to do it right here, but go into the second menu and just mash A to equip the gun as quick as possible. Now we need to talk to some NPCs. So, you press B to talk to NPCs, not A. So, notice, I'm going to wait for about 3 characters of text to appear on the next text box. And then I'm going to press A, and it's going to make all of the text appear. Like so. So, the idea here is to get it all to appear, and then mash to dismiss. The timing is somewhat oddly specific, and sometimes you do end up losing a few frames from just not having the quickest text that you could. Anyway, the route in this first prologue area, you talk to we have to talk to 5 different NPCs. One of them being this guy here, which we already talked to. One of them being this guy. One of them being that guy. Then this little butterfly. And then this butterfly. This removes a partition that is in the way and stopping us from leaving the Prologue area or Nobi's town. And for lore purposes, more or less, Nobi's town has been transported to a different world, and everyone is coded in some kind of intergalactic goo. So we need to leave town and figure out why. But anyway, once you talk to the final NPC, you can exit the loading zone in this area through this arrow right here. Normally there's a partition in the way right here that you can't get across. Talking to all of the NPCs removes the partition. The issue here with trying to find a way to skip it is there's no real known ways to go out of bounds in this game. That doesn't mean that there won't be any discovered. This game is still relatively new as a speed game. But, yeah. Anyway, after you leave here, that's the end of the first area and the prologue of Nobi's Town. Like so. And then you're on the world map.